In this video, we are going to look at the x and y intercepts of a parabola. So now let's have the diagram here. Okay, so we have an x or y plane. Now from this x or y plane, let's say we have a parabola that opens upward. Now, when we look at the intercept is a point where the curve is intersecting the x and the y axis. So in our case here, the first point, the one that I've used the green color, we can see that we are looking at the intersection or where the curve cuts the x-axis. So this is what we call the x-intercept of a parabola. Now from there, we also have this point where the y-axis is meeting the curve. This one is known as the y-intercept of a parabola. Now, away from knowing the intercept, the x-intercept and the y-intercept, we may encounter questions where we want to find the y-intercept and the x-intercept in forms of the coordinates. Now let's have some examples. Okay, so now the first example here, find the coordinates of the points A, B and C in each of the following. So the first part, we have been given a quadratic function that has been sketched for us. So our task is to find the coordinates of point A, B and C. So let's begin with point A. So far we can see that for point A, we are looking for the y-intercept because it is a point where our curve is intersecting the y-axis. Now from there, what we are going to do here, we are going to write our function. So our function f of x is equal to, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange the equation into a standard form where I need to begin with the one with squared. So we begin with negative x squared minus 5x plus 14. So in cases where you have an equation that is not arranged in order, so the first step that I advise you to do is make sure that it is in a standard form where we know that the coefficient of x squared is a, then the coefficient of x raised to the power 1 is b, then the number without a letter, that is just a constant number. So now here, when we are looking for the y-intercept, the y-intercept is found in the y-axis, and we know that in the y-axis the x coordinate is always 0. So what we are going to do is we are going to substitute where there is x by 0. So from this we can see that f of 0 will just give us 0 squared is just 0, minus 5 times 0 is 0 plus 14. 0 minus 0, that's just 0 plus 14 is equal to 14. So therefore the point A is 0, 14. So in a case where you have an equation arranged in a order that we have looked at, so, and if you are looking for the y-intercept, what you can just do is 0, the constant number always. That is how you can just, so is 0, the given number. So in our case, it's just 0, 14. Now, from there, let's go and now find the coordinates of B and C. So for the coordinates of B and C, we are looking for the x-intercept. And whenever you are trying to find the coordinates for the x-intercepts, you can use, like we have the quadratic formula, you can use factorization, you can use completing the square method. So it depends with the method that you are comfortable with, or maybe it depends if the question is specified. So in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the factorization method. So I have my original function f of x is equal to negative x squared minus 5x plus 14. So we need to find the product. So we need to find the product. After the product, we need to find the sum, and we need to find the factor. So the product, we find the product by multiplying the value of a times the value of c. So from a, we can see that the value of a is negative 1, the value of c is 14. So times, negative 1 times 14, that is negative 14. So the product is negative 14. Then for the sum is just the value of b. So our sum is negative 5. Then from there, we need to find the two numbers that if we multiply those two numbers, we get negative 14, and if we add those two numbers, they have to give us the value of negative 5. So now, for those that face troubles when finding the factors, what you do is you use the product. So our product is 14. So what we are going to do is we are going to find the multiple two numbers. So two numbers that can go into 14, and these two numbers must multiply to give us negative 14 and add to give us negative 5. So begin by 1. So 1 into negative 14 is negative 14. Then we know that 1 times negative 14, yes, is negative 14. But if we add 1 plus negative 14, we get negative 13. So we can see that these two cannot give us the numbers that we are looking for. So we can now try let's try 2. 2 can go into 14. So 2 into negative 14 is negative 7. Now let's see if we can, if 2 and 7 are the factors we are looking for. So we can now say 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Okay. 2 minus 7 is negative 5. So we are able to see that we have the product of negative 7, negative 14, and the sum of negative 5. So we are able to see that the two factors that we are looking for are 2 and negative 7. So we can proceed now by factorizing. So now when factorizing, where there is f of x here, we are going to substitute with 0, because we know that the y value in the x-axis is 0. So before we do that, let's now indicate the factors. So the factors we say are 2 and negative 7. Okay, so now we can proceed. So we can say now negative x squared minus, so we just say 2, then 2 becomes 2x, negative 7 also becomes negative x, plus 14 is equal to 0. So after we are done with this part, we are going to factorize now by grouping. So we are going to factorize this part, and we also factorize this part. So from the first part here, we can see that we are going to factorize negative x. Then negative x into negative x squared is positive x. Then now negative x into positive 2x is negative 2. Then we go here, we are going to factorize our negative 7. So negative 7 into negative 7x is x. Negative into positive is negative. 7 into 14 is 2 is equal to 0. So from there, we can now see that here we have a common factor here. So we are going to get 1, x minus 2. Then this also must form a pair, negative x minus 7 is equal to 0. Then from there, we are going to equate each in bracket equals to 0. So x minus 2 is equal to 0. or x minus 7 is equal to 0. Then from there we can now correct the like term, so the negative 2 will shift to the other side. X is equal to 0 plus 2. Our x is equal to positive 2. Then for this one, we can see that this negative 7 will shift to the other side, where we get now 0 minus 7. So negative x is equal to negative 7 over negative over negative. So x is equal to sorry, not negative 7, so negative 7 is our final answer. So we can see that from the two values of x, one is positive and one is negative. So we can go back to our diagram. So we can see that we have our point C is located on the x-axis and it is on the positive side. So the x value with the positive sign will go with C. So therefore we can say our C is 2, 0. So whenever you are assigning the coordinates for a point located in x-axis, it's a number, 0. Then for B, since our B is located on the negative side, this will be negative 7, 0. So we have the all 3 points. Now let's look at another example. Okay, so now we move on to question B. So even this question, we are trying to find the coordinates of A, B, and C. So we can see that the coordinates, the point A and B indicates the x-intercept. Then for the C is just the turning point of this parabola. So what we are going to do is we are going first to find the x coordinate for point A and B. So let's begin by, so let's write our original equation. So 2x squared minus 7x plus 5, where there is fy, we just put 0. See, we are solving for x. Then we are going to find the product, sum, and the factors. So we said we need to find the factors, the product, by multiplying the value of A and the value of, so our A is the coefficient of x squared, our B is the coefficient of x, our C is just a constant number. So the coefficient of x squared is 2 times 5, our product is 10. Then for the sum we just get the value of B, which is negative 7. So we need two numbers that can multiply to give us 10, and when you add will give us negative 7. So let's find the two factors. So what we are going to do is we are going to do this. So we'll begin 1 into 10 is 10. So we can see that 1 times 10 is 10. 1 plus 10 will not give us the negative 7 that we are looking for. So let's go for 2. So now 2 into 10 is 5. We know that 2 times 5 is 10. Then 2 plus 5 is 7. Now when we look at the sign of the sum is negative. So here, what we are saying here, the two factors must be negative. So it's negative 2, negative 5. We know that when we add, when we have the same signs, we are supposed to add and get the sign, maintain the sign. So from here, we can see that we have 7 and they will give us negative 7. So we're able to see this. So the two factors are negative 2 and negative 5. Now we can proceed. So here we can say now 2x squared minus 2x minus 5x plus 5 is equal to 0. Then we factorize the first part here. So you can see that 2 is common and also x is common. So if we divide 2x into 2x squared is just x minus 2x into negative 2x is just negative 1. So here we can factorize the negative 5. So negative 5 into negative 5x is positive x. Negative 5 into positive 5 is negative 1. So from there, we can see that we have a common, so we can get 1x minus 1, then this must form also a pair, which is 2x minus 5, then equals to 0. Then we are going to equate each, so x minus 1 is equal to 0, or 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. So we shift, we have x is equal to 1. Then here we are going to have, when this shift to the other side, we are going to have positive 5, which is we divide by 2. We can see that this one is 2.5 or 2.5, so we have a 2.5. So now we can see that the two values of x are all positive. Now what we are going to do is we can go back to our xy plane, and we can see that point A is closer to the origin, then B is further to the origin. So what we are going to do is the one with the lowest number is the one indicating the one that is closer to the origin. So our A is 1, 0, since 1 is closer to 0. Then our B will be 2.5, 0. So these are the points for B and A and B, I mean. So now let's look at the other point. So the other point, we are trying to solve for the turning point, which is our C. So our C is the turning point because it is where the curve is turning. So now we know that we always have to begin with the x coordinate, and the formula is x is equal to negative b over 2a. So from the equation we can see that the value of b is negative 7 over the value of a is positive 2. So our x is equal to negative times negative 7 is positive 7 over 2 times 2, that is 4. So our x coordinate is 7 over 4. Then let's find the y coordinate. So the y coordinate is equal to 4ac minus b squared divided by 4a. So for our a is 2, our c is 5, minus our b is negative 7, then we square it over 4. Our a is 2. So you can now multiply 4 times 2, that is 8 times 5, that is 40, minus negative 7 times negative 7, that is positive 49 times negative, that is negative 49, over 4 times 2 is 8. So from there we can see that 40 is positive, then the other one is negative, so we are going to subtract. So 49 minus 40, that is negative 9 over 8. So the points are 7 over 4, negative 9 over 8. That is the coordinate for point C. Now let's do one more part. Okay, now for the last question, we can see that we have a function f of x is equal to 16 minus x squared. So if we are to rearrange, we can see that we have negative x squared plus 16. So we have a different problem from the previous that we've done, but overall it is also the same. So what we are going to do is first let's find the y-intercept where there is point A. So the y-intercept, we said this should just be 0, the constant number. So the constant number is positive 16. So that is for A intercept. Now what we are going to do is we need to find the coordinates for B and C. So our equation is negative now x squared plus 16 is equal to, so f of x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange this to the way it was. So what I'm going to do, I need to begin with my 16 here. So 16 minus x squared is equal to, now where there is f of x we can put 0. So we can see that we can use now factorization where we use the difference of two squares. So what we are going to do is we need to find the perfect square in terms of 16, the number that you can multiply by 16 to give, by itself to give us 16. That is 4 squared, because we know that 4 squared is same as 16, x squared is equal to 0. Then from there, we said you need to open two brackets. So 4 here, another 4 here. So one must have a positive sign, the other one a negative sign. Then x here, also x there. So after we are done now factorizing, we can now equate each to 0. So 4 plus x is equal to 0. 4 minus x is equal to 0. Then we are going to move this 4 to the other side. We have x is equal to 0, so it's positive. So after shifting this number to the other side, we are going to have negative 4. So x is equal to negative 4. The other x will be positive 4. So we can say that we are going to move the positive 4 to the other side. So we can say that we have negative x is equal to negative 4. We divide by negative and also by negative. X is equal to positive 4. So we can see that we have the same values but with different signs. So we can see that B is located on the negative part. So the B has the negative x coordinate. So it's negative 4, 0. Our C is located on the positive part. So our coordinate as 4, 0. So this is how you should find the coordinates of the points. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share the video.